accompanied by some genuine fear. Fear for our country, fear for our children, fear for what is coming our way if we forget the stakes in this election. So I am asking y'all from the core of my being to take our lives seriously. Please, do not put our lives in the hands of politicians, mostly men, who have no clue or do not care about what we as women are going through.
Michelle Obama's speech in Kalamazoo, Michigan the other night for the Harris campaign absolutely gripped me. I mean, she is always fabulous, but there was something about this speech in particular for me as a woman, as a grown-up girl, that chilled me to my bones. Because I too am so tired of men making decisions about women's lives. Michelle's speech was a clarion call to the nation, an SOS for our lives. My name is Suri Crowe, and you are watching the MeidasTouch Network. Misogyny is deeply baked and steeped into the fabric of our society, and it is something that I have been thinking about a lot lately, like more so than average. It is the backseat that we, women and girls, are expected to take. Yes, even in progressive and mainstream spaces, which is why we are seeing this insane double standard applied to Kamala Harris while a free pass is given to Donald Trump.
So I hope you'll forgive me if I'm a little frustrated that some of us are choosing to ignore Donald Trump's gross incompetence while asking Kamala to dazzle us at every turn. I hope that you'll forgive me if I'm a little angry that we are indifferent to his erratic behavior, his obvious mental decline, his history as a convicted felon, a known slumlord, a predator found liable for sexual abuse, all of this, while we pick apart Kamala's answers from interviews that he doesn't even have the courage to do, y'all. So, I am praying that those of us contemplating voting for Trump or not voting at all will snap out of whatever fog we are in.
It is a complicated business being a girl, being a woman. From the first time you get your period, the awkward and embarrassing moments in middle school and high school, to all the often scary and confusing decisions that you are faced with along the way. And nobody really talks to you about them. They don't. There is a huge vacuum in women's healthcare. It is understudied and underfunded. And I just want to give a quick shout out to President Biden, who just recently funded $110 million for cutting edge women's healthcare research. But that is a drop in the bucket of what we really need, because women are still not treated equally in terms of healthcare research. There is a huge inequity. And I saw this firsthand when I was diagnosed with breast cancer earlier this year. I was given some pretty draconian decisions by some of my healthcare providers. Like, they didn't even seem to consider what my life or quality of life would look like afterwards. It was just like, well, here are your options in terms of getting rid of the cancer, which to me, we're going to leave me with a pretty crappy quality of life, and we're going to really impact and how I would feel as a woman. I was like, well, they didn't care. Like, we're just going to strip this away from you, but the cancer will be gone. So I really had to advocate for my health and my reproductive rights, like fight for it 10 toes down and tell them, no, I'm not going to do this. And some of them were taken aback, like, well, that's just what we do. I'm like, but I don't want to do that. So again, there just needs to be so much more research and education for women's healthcare. We absolutely need this. And that's not going to happen. I can guarantee it. If Donald Trump and Republicans are given power, it will not happen. So it really concerns me firsthand. And in the middle of this, I was coddling my boyfriend because I thought it was just too much for him to handle what was going on with my healthcare. Because, you know, the idea that women aren't going to be perfect, and exactly the idea of what we're supposed to be in society's terms. I mean, it was ridiculous. Like, I was more worried about what he was perceiving was happening to me. And that is the absurdity of this baked in misogyny. Let me not put myself and my needs first, but let me worry about him and the other people in my life. And this is exactly what Michelle Obama gets. And she spells it out beautifully.
Because there's more at stake than just protecting a woman's choice to give birth. And sadly, we as women and girls have not been socialized to talk openly about our reproductive health. We've been taught instead to feel shame and to hide how our bodies work. Some young girls enter puberty not knowing what to expect. Too many of us suffer with severe cramps and nausea for days on end every single month. And then on the other end of the reproductive timeline, too many women my age have no idea what's going on with our bodies as we battle through menopause and debilitating hot flashes and depression. See, fellas, most of us women, we suck up our pain and we deal with it alone. We don't share our experiences with anyone. Not with our partners, or our friends, or even our doctors. Look, a woman's body is complicated business, y'all. Yes, it brings life, and that's a beautiful thing. But even when we are not bearing children, there is so much that can go wrong at any moment. Every woman here knows what I'm talking about. An unexpected lump, an abnormal pap smear or mammogram, an infection, a blockage, all of which could be early signs of a variety of life-threatening cancers. And in those terrifying moments when something goes wrong, y'all, which will happen at some point to the vast majority of women in this country, let me tell you, it feels like the floor falls out from under us. In those moments, all we have to rely on is our medical system. In those dark moments, all we have to rely on is our faith in a higher power and the experience of doctors to get us the care we need in a timely manner. And look, I don't expect any man to fully grasp how vulnerable this makes us feel, to understand the complexities of our reproductive health experiences. In all honesty, most of us as women don't fully understand the breadth and depth of our own reproductive lives, you know? And that's because our experiences are often neglected by science. And if you happen to look like me and report pain, you're more likely to be ignored, even by your own doctors, studies show. So let me take a minute to help folks, especially the men in our lives, to get a better sense of what could happen if we keep dismantling parts of our reproductive care system piece by piece, as Trump intends to do.
Nails it. Just absolutely nails it. As she was speaking, I was like, yes, exactly. That is exactly what we are dealing with. And women and girls are dying, and more will die because of Republicans and their horrible policy decisions and their war on women's rights and our reproductive health care. We've already seen this in Texas. We've already seen it in Georgia. They don't care. Full stop. The Republican war on women is not about pro-life. And I beg of us all to stop using the phrase pro-life, because it is quite frankly the opposite. It is all about controlling women, even if that means some of us or many of us die. We are the only ones who should be making decisions about our bodies. And that right has been stripped from us by Donald Trump, the lying Supreme Court justices who lied under oath in Congress when they said that Roe v. Wade was settled law, and then turned right around and overturned that settled law. and the Republicans who allowed those justices to be seated on the court. And the ramifications have been deadly, as we have seen.
I want folks to understand the chilling effect, not just on critical abortion care, but on the entirety of women's health. We will see more doctors hesitating or shying away from providing life-saving treatments because they are worried about being arrested. More medical students reconsidering even pursuing women's health at all. More OB/GYN clinics without enough doctors to meet demand, closing their doors, leaving untold numbers of women in communities throughout this country without a place to go for basic gynecological care, which in turn will leave millions of us at risk of undiagnosed medical issues like cervical and uterine cancers. This is real. So to the men who love us, let me just try to paint a picture of what it will feel like if America, the wealthiest nation on earth, keeps revoking basic care from its women, and how it will affect every single woman in your life. Your girlfriend could be the one in legal jeopardy if she needs a pill from out of state or overseas, or if she has to travel across state lines because the local clinic closed up. Your wife or mother could be the ones at higher risk of dying from undiagnosed cervical cancer because they have no access to regular gynecological care. Your daughter could be the one too terrified to call the doctor if she's bleeding during an unexpected pregnancy. Your niece could be the one miscarrying in her bathtub after the hospital turned her away. So I am asking y'all from the core of my being to take our lives seriously. Please, do not put our lives in the hands of politicians, mostly men, who have no clue or do not care about what we as women are going through, who don't fully grasp the broad-reaching health implications that their misguided policies will have on our health outcomes. The only people who have standing to make these decisions are women with the advice of their doctors. We are the ones with the knowledge and experience to know what we need. So please, do not hand our fates over to the likes of Trump, who knows nothing about us, who has shown deep contempt for us. Because a vote for him is a vote against us, against our health, against our worth. And let me tell you all, to think that the men that we love could be either unaware or indifferent to our plight is simply heartbreaking. It is a sad statement about our value as women in this world. It is both a setback in our quest for equity and a huge blow to our country's standing as a world leader on issues of women's health and gender equality. So fellas, before you cast your votes, ask yourselves, what side of history do you want to be on? Now, I recognize that there are a lot of angry, disillusioned people out there, upset with the slow pace of change. And I get it. It is reasonable to be frustrated. We all know we have a lot more work to do in this country. But to anyone out there thinking about sitting out this election or voting for Donald Trump or a third-party candidate in protest because you're fed up, let me warn you, your rage does not exist in a vacuum. If we don't get this election right, your wife, your daughter, your mother, we as women will become collateral damage to your rage.
Whew, that part. If you sit this one out, and I'm talking and I'm pleading with not only men, but also women, Because yes, you can be a female and also be misogynist. That's part of the patriarchy. I saw it when I was standing in line to vote yesterday. I saw so many young girls and also older women. And I wanted to just grab their hand and say, do you understand what you are doing? Not only are you voting along with misogyny to hurt yourself, but you're doing it to hurt those you love, your daughters, your sisters, your mom, because as Michelle Obama beautifully spells out, these decisions and the way that you're voting are going to impact millions of us. They will hurt the people you love the most. And if you're voting that way because Kamala Harris isn't the perfect candidate, the women and girls in your life will be the collateral damage to your rage. Is that what you really want? Oh my gosh. And I'll leave you with this quote from one of my favorite badass women, Moms Demand founder and Take No Bullshit, Shannon Watts. This is a quote from her upcoming book. And it says, when men are involved, they make the strategy and take the spotlight, while women are asked to make the snacks and set up chairs. When you are not at the table, you are on the menu. I wanted to build a badass army of women. That's what she's talking about. And that's what she did when she founded Moms Demand Action. But it is so true. And aren't you tired of being on the menu? I am. Enough. I want a seat at the table. I want to have a say in decisions that are made about my body and those I love, my friends, my nieces, and the people who are dear to me. So let's do this. My name is Suri Crowe for the MeidasTouch Network. The election is happening now. It's already on, guys. Please vote accordingly. There is too much to lose if we don't. Peace.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.